And at the same time, parts of your country had already been under partial occupation for 6 years. Mr. President, the brutal aggression on the 24th of February 22 reminded us that we cannot have global prosperity without peace and security. Nearly 2 years since the war, Ukraine still stands. Its people stand and fight on a daily basis to protect the interdependence of their homeland. Thanks to your leadership, Mr. President, as well as the determination of every Ukrainian citizen, your country has remained incredibly resilient in response to the war. We are deeply grateful to you and the Ukrainian people for defending the values which are at the core of the international system and at the heart of liberal democracy. In 2022, Ukraine was granted EU candidate status, and just last month, formal accession negotiations began. There is no question that Ukraine remains firmly on the path of European integration as a result of you and your government's policies. We are eager to hear from you on what lies ahead for Ukraine in this critical time for your country, not only for your country, for Europe and for the world. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Professor Schwab, thank you for your very kind introduction. President Brandon, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your willingness to hear answers to truly important questions. When will the war end? Is the third world war possible? Is it time to negotiate with Putin? The full-scale war in Europe has been ongoing for nearly 2 years. Counting the time since Russia's illegal annexation of our Crimea, it's been almost 10 years. And for almost 10 years, Russia has been interfering in African countries from Sudan to Mali. The Syrian war still bleeding because of Putin's decision to prove something to the world has been ongoing for almost 13 years. In fact, one man has stolen at least 13 years of peace, replacing them with pain, and crises that impact the entire world. Putin is trying to normalize what should have ended in the 20th century. Mass deportations, cities and villages razed to the ground, and the terrifying feeling that the war may never end. In fact, Putin embodies war. We all know that he is the sole reason why various wars and conflicts persist and why all attempts to restore peace have failed, and he will not change. He will not change. We must change. We all must change to the extent that the madness that resides in this man's head or any other aggressor's head will not prevail. Putin is frank about what he wants, what he does, and who his targets are. His answer to the duration of the war is always war, without an end, and he wants in this way. His answer to the limits of chaos in the world is the boundless support of terrorist forces. He enjoys conflicts that cause suffering to others. His answer to calls for peace is supplying more and more weapons from North Korea and Iran. Regimes like his exist as long as they wage wars. And we all in a free world exist as long as we can defend ourselves. If anyone thinks this is only about us, this is only about Ukraine, they are fundamentally mistaken. Possible directions and even timeline of a new Russian aggression beyond Ukraine become more and more obvious. Let me ask very honestly, which European nation today can provide a combat-ready army on par with ours, holding back Russia? And how many men and women are your nation ready to send to defend another state, another nation? And if one must fight against Putin together in the years ahead, isn't it better to put an end to him and his war strategy now, while our brave men and women are already doing it? They are the world's chance. They are. In any dire confrontation, there's always a point where catastrophe can be stopped. Ukraine is that opportunity, and we all in the free world must be unwavering in our pursuit of our desires, actions and goals. Just as Putin is frank about his doom-laden ambitions, we all Ukrainians began our defense at a time when almost no one in the world believed in Ukraine, but we turned tables so that now the world has stopped believing in Russia. Even Putin's current buddies in Pyongyang and Tehran are simply using his madness while he still has technologies and resources to pay them. No one believes in his future or invests in it. And we, all of us today, even more than yesterday, must invest in bringing peace closer, a peace that is both just and stable. Before the full-scale invasion, we constantly heard, don't escalate. And we called for proactive action, sanctions to prevent war expansion. And we were told, don't escalate. And after February 24th, nothing harmed our coalition more than this concept. Every don't escalate to us sounded like you will prevail to Putin. And we asked for new types of weapons, and the response was don't escalate. But then weapons arrived and there was no escalation. A Russian missile fell on NATO territory. The response again was don't escalate. But retaliation at the moment could have taught Russia a lot and would have added necessary confidence to the West. We talked about blocking the transit of sanctioned goods to Kaliningrad, but the response was don't escalate. Full force of the sanctions could have forced Putin to concessions. Because of don't escalate, time was lost. And the lives of many of our most experienced warriors who fought since 2014 were lost. Some opportunities were lost. The lesson is clear. Everyone thought Russia had missiles that couldn't be shot down. Patriots shoot down everything. And many feared the consequences if Ukraine gets long-range weapons. As a result, Russia just loses more. And we heard Russia would never allow a grain corridor without its involvement. Nearly 16 million tons of cargo have been transported from our ports. And we can prove that Russia will reconcile with the complete loss of its Black Sea fleet. which terrorized commercial ships. And we must gain air superiority for Ukraine, just as we have gained superiority at the Black Sea. We can do it. Partners know what's needed and in what quantities. This will allow progress on the ground. Just 2 days ago, ladies and gentlemen, just 2 days ago, we proved Ukraine can even hit very valuable Russian military aircraft, which no one had shot down before. Many sanction steps were delayed for months, even years, because they have faced storms of threats from Moscow. But none of those threats came true. Each storm turned out to be their bluff. And how can one be satisfied with the sanctions against Russia or export controls if they don't even block its missile production? In every Russian missile, there are critical components from Western countries, dozens of components in every missile. And it's true. It's fact. And of course, I'm grateful for each package of sanctions. Thanks, partners. Thank you. But bringing peace closer will be a reward for all those who care to ensure that sanctions work 100%. And by the way, it's a clear weakness of the West that Russia's nuclear industry is still not under global sanctions, even though Putin is the only terrorist in the world who took a nuclear power plant hostage. It must be a strong decision this year when frozen Russian assets, soaring and oligarchic, will be directed towards defense against the Russian war and for reconstruction of Ukraine. Putin loves money above all. The more billions he and his oligarchs, friends and accomplices lose, the more likely he will regret starting this war. Putin must regret. We need him to lose. We need to finally dispel the notion that global unity is weaker than one man's hatred. And we can do it. Ladies and gentlemen, this year must be decisive. Can freezing the war in Ukraine be its end? I don't want to settle for the truism that any frozen conflict will eventually reignite. And I remind you that after 2014, there were attempts to freeze the war in Donbass. There were very influential guarantors of those processes than Chancellor of Germany and the presidents of France. But Putin is a predator who is not satisfied with the frozen products. And we have to defend ourselves, our children, our houses, our lives. And we have to do it, and we can beat him on the ground. We have proved it, and at sea and in the skies. And we ramp up production of weapons. We achieved economic growth in Ukraine. Our GDP is moving up despite the war, plus more than 5% last year. And we got the decision on EU accession negotiations, and we are normalizing the idea that the aggression can be defeated, even Putin's aggressions, which have been ongoing for 10 years and more. And now we can say, don't escalate, to all who doubt, to all who want to reduce support. And in this warning, we will be absolutely correct, because every reduction in pressure on the aggressor adds years to the war. But every investment in the confidence of the defender shortens the war. We must make it possible to answer the most important question. The the war will end with a just and stable peace. And I want you to be the part of this peace, starting from right now, to bring the peace closer. And we need you in Ukraine to build, to reconstruct, to restore our lives. Each of you can be even more successful with Ukraine. And these days, right here, in such a beautiful country, in Switzerland, we have made a key political contribution to the possibility of ending the war. There was the most representative meeting of national security advisors regarding the implementation of the peace formula. More than 80 countries and international institutions were represented. Yesterday, I had very productive negotiation with the President of Switzerland and discussing the possibility of holding a summit at the leaders level in Switzerland. The first summit, the Global Peace Summit. Today, our teams have already begun work on organization such a summit, not the World War III, but the Global Peace Summit. And I invite every leader and country that respects peace and international law to join us. Together we can answer any crucial questions, and it will be the best answers. Peace must be the answer. Thank you for your invitation, and thank you for attention. Slava Ukraini. Thank you.
Mr. President, I think you can feel the warmth from the audience. I've never seen this room so full. And thank you for your historical speech here in Davos. I think we all know when we are witnessing history, and with President Zelensky, he's one of the historical figures of our time. To stand against Russia as one of the largest military powers in the world, like you and your people have done, is, of course, truly historic. But we will also have to turn to the next chapters, and you also mentioned that Ukraine's economy is still growing with more than 5%. You also mentioned that Russia has seen a lot of losses, more than 300,000 soldiers, more than half of their tanks, and also their Black Fleet fleets. I was just wondering, listening to you, how long will the Russian people let Putin continue with this?
Дуже цікаве ваше запитання, як довго російський...
Let's see if everyone gets on.
Yeah, please.
And here you have some water.
Try. No, I have water.
Okay.
I will wait. I have enough time till morning. No, I have not. Sorry.
You have a war to win, no? Okay.
I have a lot of work. Thanks so much. No, it's a great...
So,
can I speak Ukrainian?
yeah, of course, everyone has their...
Everybody understands Ukrainian. Okay, that's great.
With the interpretation, yes.
I see, yeah. What we will speak about serious topics, but sometimes we need pauses for jokes.
Gallows humor.
No, well, you know what is funny? Now I'm speaking English and have Ukrainian translation here. So it's thanks technologies. But it has to be opposite.
How did it sound?
I have to speak Ukrainian.
How did it sound in Ukrainian?
Great. Yeah. My voice is better here. So I don't like to hear my voice. Добре, дякую. Чому я хотів відповісти українською? Я вам поясню.
I will explain to you.
Ви не розумієте, яка різниця між вами.
You do not understand what difference is between us, you and this man, Putin, because as you have mentioned, and in your question was it all, the difference between autocracy from democracy is that you mentioned for how long the people of Russia will allow Putin, and then afterwards it is not important whether it's war, the elections to be the head of the state. The question is that we equally understand this, you and us. For how long will people allow? And that is the principle of democracy, and that is the difference. The people do not allow anything to the President Putin. The question is what President Putin allows to his people, and therefore we need to state the question differently. For how long are the people ready to be deaf, to not hear anything, to not see anything, to pretend like everything is all right and is moving all right? So that is not the question to me. That is the question to the people of Russian Federation, whether they are capable of changing themselves or not. And that is the situation. And Putin, that is what I was saying. I don't believe that that man is capable of changing, because only humans can do that.
Very interesting. I'll try another question then. We know that...
Try.
Yeah, try. I'm realistic. We know that the EU and the US has now been holding back for a week or two the latest support to Ukraine. I know that you're meeting European leaders. You met with President von der Leyen. I think you also meet with the key American leaders here. Are you concerned that this is taking a lot of time, or is this just a question of weeks before it is resolved?
Thank you for the question. I think it's the matter of weeks. I have positive signals that Europe is supporting us, the countries of the European Union, and I believe we will also manage to solve the question regarding the aid in Congress. Without it, it is not possible. We have had many discussions, dialogues and meetings, and I think that we are not wasting our such precious time to us, because we at times of war need to be in our state. It is important to come here, to communicate with partners, to meet, but nonetheless there are priorities in times of war, and therefore I am sure that I believe that there will be very positive reaction from our partners. We do not allow Russia to occupy us. We stand firm thanks to our warriors. As regards the reforms, all that list of reforms, our promises and proposals by the International Monetary Fund, European Union, Ukraine is fulfilling all those faster than prior to the war, because we have regrouped, because Ukraine in times of war has proven that it can be strong and can reform the state.
I think also, Mr. President, a good reminder to all of us that when Putin attacked, saying that it was just false allegations that he was going to attack Ukraine, that he said the evening before the attacks started, you've been able to take back 50% of the territory that he occupied. I think it's also important to remind ourselves that you did even before you got the Western weapons support. That was based on your old army, and you have a much stronger army now, probably the 6th, 7th strongest army in the world. But I think, if I may, if you could share the sentiment among the people in your country. How do Ukrainians now feel after 2 years of this war? Are they as committed or even more committed after all the atrocities, the latest shelling and also killing of civilians? Because you also have to manage your own population.
Thank you for a rather difficult question. First and foremost, Ukrainian people will never forgive Putin and to all those who have sponsored and committed all this terrorism, who took our lives from us, our people, our children, the time of those children that have survived, thanks God, but who were forced to grow up and become adult because of this war. They were deprived of childhood simply. And my condolences to all those who were deprived of close ones, of people. Therefore, to mention anything about forgiveness, it is said that the time is playing at Putin's hand and that people in Ukraine will forget. No. To rest in this world or in the other world, neither he nor his children or grandchildren will not have safe rest. Yes, we are not terrorists, therefore we will have criminal legal processes, and there will be responsibility. There has to be responsibility because after this terror, the others will come. Autocracy, aggression. It would mean that it is possible to do so if there would be no consequences. Therefore, nobody will never forgive nothing to anybody. But not this supports the morale, the spirit of Ukrainians, not revenge. We cannot compare revenge to justice. I have now covered justice, not revenge, but justice. Justice has to be in sentences, in precise years and places where they need to spend their long, many-year vacation. The issue is in justice. The morale is supported by the desire of Ukrainians to be free and for freedom, for the human rights, for your own choice, how you want to live, whom you want to elect, whom you want to love, where you want to rest. For it is for this choice, for the sake of freedom, that Ukrainian people are fighting bravely, courageously, resiliently. And I believe that it is fighting for our common values. It is difficult to understand the price of such values when you do not have war. Therefore, your support is so important. It is so important for the people to understand the price of it before the disaster comes. And if we unite all together and unite in the help to Ukraine and in isolating Putin, and if we do that, that will be a right preventive political steps so that the war do not come to other countries, to Ukraine. And this is what Putin wants. By distracting his slavery population of poor people, he is not capable of building up market economy in Russia. He did not succeed in that. He did not manage to create middle class out of poor people, to let people enjoy the results of their work, to enjoy their lives. Therefore, he proposed radicalism to them. Because of the work of Kremlin, their lying information policy, and because of the war, if you cannot give the economy, he has found for them other military, quote-unquote, victories, that is occupation of other territories, destruction and killing. I apologize, my response was rather long. Your question was shorter.
I think they're more interested in hearing you than me. I think, Mr. President, I think that was an amazing way to end. Maybe just short question, how can we in this room, and also we discussed this morning with, you had 70 global CEOs in the room, how can we even better contribute for the principles you laid out and for Ukraine?
Я сказав сьогодні вам абсолютно відверто.
I have stated to you absolutely frankly to us, I believe that our strength and our main treasure of Ukraine is people, and they have proven to the whole world that they are smart, talented, modern, and they are sharp-witted, they are brave, and they are absolutely open. And I told you that for us today to build up a resilient economy, only our people and your investments are capable of that. The working places, many of those. For this, we would need normal investments, from absolutely understandable, transparent companies, and I believe that that will strengthen us because it will create new employment places. It will allow our people the opportunity to come back from abroad. And I have already stated that Putin has managed only to enter the villages where he has killed all people, or where there were no people because they have fled because of the war. But if there were many people who were ready to defend their land, and they did indeed manage to do that, so please strengthen our economy, and we will strengthen your security.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been an... You see?
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.